Looks to come inside and find one, a goal, and find the back of the net for Perth.
And the Azzurri have come back from 2 goals down to tie it up.
Cue the celebrations for the Azzurri.
Episode 6 of the Perth SC Podcast. Great to have you with us on a rainy old week here at Dorrien Gardens. It's been a big week. There's plenty to talk about, and we are back looking across a big couple of games across the weekend, and a big look forward to what we can see at the Perth Soccer Club over the next week. Blayne Treadgold is my name, alongside me. Benny Stroud's back in the hot seat, mate. Welcome.
Good to be back. It's good to be back here, back on the mic, back in the studio.
Yeah, no, it's studio. Very loose term, that one. Mate, how's things and how's the week been?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, it's like personally feeling really refreshed. I was lucky I had mum and dad come over and visit, and it's so special to spend some time, show them around Perth, and especially for them to see the club and see what happens down here at DG. It was really, really cool.
Absolutely, mate. Where did you get out to? Where did the hot spots in Perth?
We hit Freo.
Yep.
We took them to the 2 breweries out there, and mum and dad big fan, and their friends big fan of out there. And then on the Wednesday, we were blessed with the weather, so we went out to Roto as well, checked that out. So that was really, really cool. People think they're crazy, but went for a swim, and honestly, the water was warm, so it was stunning. And being from Christchurch, like, people might think I'm crazy, but it was luxurious.
Yeah, okay. And you didn't get any. You got your sea legs out there, mate. It can get a little bit hairy on the way back.
It was nice. As we said, picked a really good day for it, so lucky, very lucky.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. As far as the football goes on the pitch, not the result the boys wanted across the weekend. It was DT 38, round a 3-1 loss to Stirling. It was a good start, Cookie from the spot. Well-earned penalty, I thought, from where I was sitting, but unfortunately it was downhill from there. Yeah,
like we started well, and I think that like credit to Stirling, actually, like they came out and they were really well organised. I think teams will understand the way that we're trying to play football, and they're starting to click on and kind of set up for that, and they were really well organised. And I, as a centre mid, found it tough to get on the ball in the first 20-odd minutes, but we managed to break it a couple times, break that press, and we Abdul played the ball over to Cookie, who went one-on-one and did well to get that pen for sure. Good save from the keeper, and then fair credit to finish it up, Cookie to follow it up and finish it. And then, it was a bit downhill. Like, when we spoke about it after the game, it's football-wise, we're doing well. We're playing well. We're being courageous, getting on the ball, trying to do these things that we've talked about before. But the reality is that you've got to come to the fight. Like, you have to show up for all of the scrappy stuff in between as well. And we were lacking in that area, and I think that's where we end up losing the game.
It did feel like Stirling came with that intensity from the get-go. There was a real high press from them. But it was just, I guess, following on from your comments just there, I thought they were everywhere at times and just hunting in numbers.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there were definitely times where you were like, well, I felt that, it was just a matter of where do we pick up these players? Like, there seems to be a +1 and trying to figure that out. But as you said, I think, like, you really just got to ground yourself in that hard work and to actually just dig in and graft. And I think that we just didn't show all of that we have shown in the past and in previous games before. So look, that we can just take a lot of the positives from the way that we're playing and just know that when we can dig deep, then we're a hard team to play. So that's all that we've got to keep trying to focus on.
Take us a little bit further inside that dressing room after a result like that. Not in terms of what was said, but just the feeling and the meaning. I mean, is it a full-on honest conversation? I mean, a heads down? Is it a little bit mopey? What's the feeling like?
I think as any player would be after a loss like that, you're gutted, you're frustrated, you're mad, angry, sad, all of these negative emotions, right? And that's just the reality, because you still try hard, you still try and put your best foot forward and things, and then you kind of just left questioning, and you just keep thinking in your head, like, what else could I have done? Where did we go wrong, etc. So, like, there's a real honesty among the group at that time where we're all feeling like we know that that's not good enough, and we have to make that better, especially after the week before coming off a really good result. I think that we really wanted to get some momentum and use that game as another step in the direction up the ladder, but sometimes that's football and it just doesn't go that way. So all you can do is you just got to regroup, get together, and in Tuesday's training, you got to go back and nail it.
And who leads those conversations? Is that where someone like Kenny comes in and has a word, or is that led by maybe the leaders, the senior guys like Harley and yourself, or how's it all structured?
Yeah, after a game, Kenny says what he wants to say. We listen to that intently, and then from there you can have. No one really says too much as the players, because as I said, that feeling's it's a collective feeling. So yeah, we'll have conversations with each other, maybe quietly, and then in the club rooms after. But then the real discussions actually happen at training.
Right.
Like that's where we really start to pick things apart and put them together and drive intensity and just understand that we need to have it in that environment to then move forward into the next week.
I tell you what, it probably takes a little bit of maturity to be able to separate the emotion from the facts or from the logic in that situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Like, different players handle that kind of stuff differently, right? And I think that Harley, myself, you can say Didi, for example, like the more experienced senior players, we've seen more things in football than a lot of these other younger guys. So the reality is that we know that, okay, this is just a time where you've got highs, you've got lows in football. And then the reality is that you just got to try and find that median in between and try and keep that balanced level head. And I think that's something that we've got as a leadership group, which is really, really important. And then it's just trying to get around those younger ones that may not have that experience. They may just drop that extra bit lower because they just understand that that's the moment and not actually look bigger picture and say, okay, there's still more good things coming. Like, you just got to keep knowing that this is a process. You got to keep doing it, keep showing up, and then understand that you'll get there in the long run. So it's about how do you actually get around those ones and recognize it, and then have those conversations to say, look, mate, like, let's just stay on this path. Keep trusting in what we're doing, keep trusting this process, and we'll be all right.
And there's a lot of psychology, and just in my experiences and reading up a little bit on this side, when you do get these kind of emotions, you've got to not identify as that emotion. You've got to separate yourself and look at things almost with a different side of your brain.
Oh, look, you can dive into this way more, and I think that's something that that a lot of younger players struggle with, and I'm lucky I've talked to a lot of really, really good people in this space that I got really lost in my own career, where I only identified myself as a footballer. And you got to, as a player, and a person, you've got to understand that your qualities and like what you offer is so much more than that. So it's being able to, yes, you show up. This is like a job, right? Football's a job. You show up, you do that, etc., etc. You put your heart and soul into that. But sure, that doesn't actually mean that Ben Stroud is just that player that plays in the game. Because the reality is, like, if I identify as that, and a coach tells me that I had a bad game, then I'm gonna all of a sudden think that I'm not actually worthy as a person. And you can get really caught in this trap. And as you're talking this psychology, it's really tough. So being able to balance that and understand, you know what, away from this, for example, like if there are players listening to this, one of the biggest things that I recognize in my journey is that, like, I'm a son and I'm a brother, and like I'm having that, and just being able to like see my parents in the stands last week and the week before was so special because you understand that there's so much more to it, and then you can actually separate yourself. Okay, whatever happens here, yes, I'm going to do my best, but that doesn't define me outside of this game.
Yeah. No, it's a hugely interesting conversation, and I guess when things aren't going right in one area, you can really concentrate on where they are going right and get that kind of that positivity back, and do a little bit more around the club and around the team and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, as a person, you got to try and put eggs in different baskets, I think, and actually maximize who you are as a person, as a player, and just as a human at the end of the day, and where can you offer value, and what do you enjoy doing? So yeah, it's very important, and it's a skill. Like, it's very hard to, when you care so much and you work so hard, it's so easy to fall into that trap of just focusing on that one thing. But yeah, like, as I said, it's important to be able to step away from that, step back, and like I said before, there's highs, there's lows, and it's just trying to find that equilibrium in the middle to balance yourself out, and just understand that emotions are good, whether it's like good or bad. Like as a human, you got to experience both. It's like the weather, right? It's absolutely pissing it down right now.
Yep.
Just because it's raining doesn't mean it's a bad day.
Yeah.
Like you need that for stuff to grow.
Yeah.
So
No, absolutely. And someone once said to me, emotions are a signal that there maybe needs to be some action somewhere, and maybe that's where we come to as I push on to this next question about what the review has been like and what's the messaging been like throughout the week following that loss.
Enjoy football. Like we got to training on Tuesday morning. It was freezing, by the way. It's getting colder and colder here, so cold. But we were there and we just started, and Kenny just said, "You got to enjoy this. Like, enjoy it. Just have fun, connect with each other, play and pass and move, and enjoy this." And you know what? Like it's brought a real sense of positivity. It kind of lifts it off your shoulders, because at times you do feel that pressure, like, yes, we need to get results, 3 points, etc., but the reality is, like, this game's fun, and that's why we play it. So get back to that basics of enjoying it, which is good.
Just moving on to the NPLW team across the weekend, Benny. They got back to winning ways across the weekend. It was a big 5-0 win, possibly expected over UWA side. Flannery, McAllister, Lincoln with 2, and Stajic with a goal as well. Same old names we mentioned week in, week out, but just to have that spread across the team that everyone's contributing.
Yeah, consistency. Real consistency there. And it's just good to see. Like, it can... we talked about winning's a habit, and it can be losing at the same time. So it's good for them to go from the negative setback that they had and then change it again and get back into winning ways. So it's really good to see.
Yeah, very good. And of course, still alive in the Cup too, which we mentioned a couple of weeks ago. So a couple of tricky little fixtures. A little bit later on, we'll have a chat a little bit more about the women's team with Grace Johnston, who's going to join us. And great to see Grace come back from a long-term injury. She came through the NTC side. She got pulled into the Perth Glory women's A-League W team, but unfortunately succumbed to injury there last season. But good to see her back getting some minutes.
Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to actually talking about that story and just seeing how that affected her, the mindset, and how she's feeling now that she's back out in the park. So yeah, it should be a really good conversation.
Very good. Well, what we'll do is we'll have a bit of a break, and we'll come back on the other side, and we'll speak to the lady herself, Grace Johnston, to join us next. Welcome back to the Perth SC Podcast. Blayne Treadgold, Ben Stroud. Benny, before the break, we spoke about the women's team. We spoke about the great win on the weekend. And I tell you what, it coincided with our next guest getting some full minutes, return from injury. And, well, it's a pleasure to join her on the pod today. Grace Johnston's with us. How's things going?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no worries at all. Thank you for joining us. Hey, you must be stoked to be back and, moving back to playing some regular team football.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was good to get a few minutes under my belt. Definitely not my best by any means, but, yeah, good to get out there with the girls.
Well, you were just saying a little bit off air that you felt you were a little bit rusty. Take us through it.
Yeah, you know, you always dream about coming back and just being as how you were before, but definitely it took a bit to get into the game and everything like that. But I think that was expected, having 4 months off. So, yeah. Benny
Stroud, you're nodding your head over there, mate, because you've just been through a similar situation.
Yeah, big time. And I think, 4 months? 4 months? Yeah, I was about eight not playing a game. And, yeah, like when you first get thrown back into it, it's rusty. That's a great way to put it. And the hard thing is that, like, you expect to be back to where you were and what you've previously, like, your mind knows how good you can be, but your body's just not functioning at that level. So advice, be patient, you'll be all right.
Well, I was just going to say, what is it? Is it mechanical skills, or is it how quick your brain's kind of working, or is it a combination?
What do you think?
Probably a bit of both for me personally. Like, it's hard to get into the rhythm of the game. I think 11v11 you can't really recreate in trainings, though everybody tries to. And just like obviously the little stuff like the technique and everything, and like wrapping your foot around the ball, just got to get used to it again. It
must have just been a good feeling. It would have been a good feeling after the 5-0 win, especially considering that disappointment the week before.
Yeah, the week before was a bit of a hard one to take for the girls and for me as well, being my first game back. But I think we just got to take the league in our stride now. We've got everything to play for, so each game's a final.
You managed to knock off Red Star a couple of weeks ago. They've been the front runners in this league for a long time. It's been the others that have been trying to play a little bit of catch up, with no disrespect. After that win, does that feel like, hey, we know that we can match up with them now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I wasn't playing in that game, but from the sidelines, the girls were just so up for it. And after that, I think, it gave a lot of positive energy around the group, and yeah, that feeling that we can do it and we can beat those, high-level teams.
Yeah, I think that's like, as a player, it gives you a lot of confidence, right? That would have felt like a bit of a cup final, as you said before, and now you've got to take that kind of energy into every single game. So what's the feeling in the group right now?
Yeah, I think, as I said before, we literally just have to take every game as a final, try to get as much goal difference, as much points. Yeah, and hopefully we can, if not finish at the top of the league, get into top 4, win those games, and yeah, hopefully take out the league.
Just going back on the injury, just explain what the injury was, and I guess what the rehabs looked like since that injury.
Yeah, so the main thing was I ruptured my syndesmosis, a few other ligaments around it as well. But yeah, your syndesmosis runs in between basically your 2 shin bones and kind of allows for the pressure to put on your foot. So I have a rope in there now. Wow. That's holding, everything together.
Does that stay there permanently?
Yeah, it does. You can get it removed, but yeah, there's no point.
Yeah.
Bothering you, which it isn't so far, so touch wood.
Yeah.
And rehab, the first couple of weeks was basically no pressure, no nothing. Was in a moon boot for 6 weeks, and then, starting to get back to walking. And the main thing was, your knee-to-wall range, which was a big one for sprinting and taking off and stuff like that. Yeah, and then a couple of weeks non-contact, and contact, and then, yeah. And
how's it all feeling now after the game on the weekend?
Yeah, no, it's feeling great. I'm really positive about it. Nothing's, again, touch wood, but nothing's gone wrong so far. So yeah.
Well, me and Benny got a bit deep before in the psychological part of the game, just on the intro. But I wanted to just go through maybe just the mental toll that the injury might have taken on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it was a difficult one, especially when it first happened, because I knew I was out for the rest of the season. That was really difficult for me, but I kind of just had to take it in my stride. There's not much that you can do about an injury. So, yeah, you got to, do your rehab and just get back out there, I guess.
So going through that process, would you have advice to any other player? So like we can talk about the injury, what advice you'd have there, but then your journey as a player as well. There'll be a lot of young girls looking to follow your footsteps in the path that you've taken. I'm sure we'll touch more on that soon, but what advice would you have for those young girls that see you as an aspiration?
Yeah, I mean, for the injury personally, like just doing everything your physios are telling you to do. A big thing for me was getting all my muscle back because I lost a lot of that, through not putting weight on it. And that's a really big area of improvement for me. So, following what your physios, your sports scientists, your doctors are telling you to do and just putting in the work. I mean, it's, in the grand scheme of things, 4 months. It's not that long. You can put in the work and get better.
Was there weights training and stuff like that involved in strengthening it up? Yeah. Yeah,
quite a bit. I mean, I lost pretty much all my calf muscle. There's some horrible photo of my calf out there that's just non-existent. Right after I got the moon boot off. So that was a big thing to try to get back into.
So the old foot presses, you must be pretty good at them now.
Yeah, the calf raise, the foot press, everything.
Yeah, fair. Have you been working with Katie?
Not directly, but she's in and around with the team and everything.
She's class A. She's very experienced, and she knows her stuff. She's been brilliant, and I think she's a great asset for the club as well.
Just going a little bit back, and many out there would know your story to a certain extent, but I guess we can bring people up to date as well. But you came through the NTC program, but juniors, what did that look like for yourself?
Well, before the NTC, I did SAP and everything all the way through, and I was an associate for the NTC, but for my weekend games, and I played for Subi with the NPL boys. It's just a path that I originally took, and I think it was good for me to play with the boys for a lot of the years. just their speed and their quickness of the game. I think it really helped me.
It's amazing how many of the female football players have said that, Ben, that they loved playing against the guys because they felt, and you probably get attuned to this, Grace, because it just built that physicality part of your game as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously when you first go into a boys team, they're a bit wary, but once you get acquainted and everything, they're not going to hold back, and I think it improves the game so much more. The women's game offers different aspects, definitely, but that quickness and the sharpness and the strength of the boys, I think it was really helpful for my career, yeah.
I'm going to throw you in the deep end. What do you feel women's football could teach the men's program?
Oh, interesting one. Well, when I first came in to the NPLW, I think obviously the girls were older and everything, so they could hit those passes with a lot more distance, and I think I had to learn to read those balls a lot better. And to be honest, the physicality coming in was different to the boys. I think, the boys, especially when you're younger, you're probably around the same size, but coming in as a young age into the NPLW, the girls were much bigger than me, and I had to, adapt to that in my game.
I think there's some just technically gifted female footballers up and above a lot from what I see out of the blokes, Benny.
Yeah, like over the last 10 plus years, it's been getting so much better and better and better. And I think that's just, I honestly just put it down to the natural evolution of football. And it's just becoming more and more of a technical game. You get to see more, watch more, and then all of a sudden then you're just picking things up, and then the skill is naturally just getting better and better for both men and women. So it's just becoming a really, really competitive game all round. Just back on the NTC and I guess the grounding that gave you, I guess it is the best of the best as far as the female program goes. I mean, how did you find that experience, and I guess coming through as, it must be said, one of the brightest talents in WA football?
Yeah, I can't talk highly enough about the NTC program and Ben Anderton as my coach. Going away for those trips as well to Coffs Harbour and to NTC Challenge, it's so good for young players to get that experience away from home in that tournament environment and to be on display against all these national coaches. And I think, it's a testament to WA that they were able to produce so many players, in such an isolated state with, a much less population. I think they did really well to develop all those players.
Fast forward, you got into the Perth Glory women's team and played at A-League W level until that unfortunate incident. That whole, I guess, step up to professional football, just reflecting on that, how did you feel you took it? Obviously it was a completely different experience to what I've, had before. I just think the, maturity of all the players and obviously, the natural speed of the game and intelligence. Yeah, it was a great step up, and, I hope to build on that in the future. Nice.
It's wicked. It's wicked. Did you always have that goal? Going into the NTC, was your goal to just say, yes, I'm going to go into the A-League?
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice. And now follow-up question, what are your goals now that you're back from injury and you've kind of been through that process? What do you want to achieve and see going forward?
Yeah, good question. I think, improving to, still continuing with my rehab is a big one for me. I can't stop now, although I've got some minutes under my belt. And just improving on last season and hoping to get more minutes and, everything I can do to improve, basically.
I wanted to talk about your friendship and relationship with Georgia Cassidy, because I know you guys get on like a house on fire and you've pretty much just followed each other's footsteps side by side all the way through. But a bit strange to end up at Perth Soccer Club with one of your besties.
Yeah, a bit of a coincidence, I guess. Me and Georgia, I think we worked out the other day that we've known each other for more than 10 years, which isn't, very common especially in WA and in football. Definitely one to look out for as well.
And obviously, growing up, you two would have both played in the mid, I imagine. But, you've, moonlighted a little bit at fullback. You've been all across the place. What's your preferred position?
Obviously I played as a 10 throughout my NTC career. And, I just think, obviously I offer different attributes to different positions. I think wing-back, for me personally was a good one. Yep. I think I had the engine for it as well for the team. But yeah, honestly, wherever you want me to play, I'll play there for you. But I love wing back and 10.
And obviously there's still that hunger to be able to get back up to A-League level and I guess beyond. You're involved in the national setup with the Young Matildas?
Yeah, definitely. I think, as said before, continue with my rehab, trying to improve all the muscle and everything like that. But yeah, always striving for more.
Very good.
Very mature, very mature. One step at a time, isn't it? No, it's very good. We're looking forward to watching that journey and seeing where that takes you.
Very good. I guess just as far as what the rest of the season looks like for the Perth Soccer Club and the girls team?
Yeah, I think if we can take out maybe the cup and the top 4 and, strive for the league, I think, we're aiming high as a team because I think we have the players, we have the coach, we have, the community to do that.
And what's it like to learn off someone like Danielle Brogan, of course, highly esteemed, very, very well respected, and you guys all seem to get on like a house on fire?
Yeah, no, I met Brogues this year as well. I think she was very accommodating to me, especially with my injury, coming in. I wasn't able to play those first couple of games. She's been nothing but supportive and I think is a great coach.
Yeah, awesome. Grace, thanks for jumping on with us.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Big thank you to Grace Johnston who joined us just before that break. Benny, great to see Grace back on the park and very, very optimistic about coming back from that injury and still a long and successful career to come, you feel?
Yeah, 100%. And I think talking to her, she's obviously got a very good head on her shoulders, and I think she's taken that setback in her career and life in good stride, and just hope that she just continues to get better and better, and we'll see some great performances, I'm sure, in the blue. Yeah,
absolutely. We'd love to see it throughout the rest of this season and beyond. Benny, I thought we might just delve a little bit into your story a bit more for those that don't know or haven't got around to having a chat with you around the club. Now, from New Zealand originally, found your way over here, but a bit of a story behind how you got here, because you've been here, there, and everywhere, mate. Take us through it.
Yeah, I've managed to pick up a few passport stamps in between, which has been pretty lucky. Born and raised in Christchurch and grew up there until I was 16 years old. Had the opportunity and got recruited, signed for the Wellington Phoenix Academy. So was as a boy from the South Highland, I was super stoked about that. Had to pack up and leave to go to boarding school within 3 days. I basically made that decision, and that was before my last year of high school. So that time you're not really too sure in terms of new school, new environment with people and whatnot. But the decision was pretty easy. I knew that I wanted to play football, and that was going to be the best situation for me. So I did that. And then, used that opportunity, had a little bit of experience in the under-17 side New Zealand with Danny Hay. So that was where I formally got acquainted with him. And then, managed to continue my journey overseas, went to America after doing a 4-year scholarship, had some great times, had some tough times, had a really good senior year over there where we made it to the NCAA tournament, second round, and then it was great to finish on a high. After that, I was really open to many opportunities, but COVID hit at that time. So that was it actually gave me a really good opportunity to get home and basically spend time with my family that I'd missed out on from the age of 18 to 22 when I finished college. So that was a great 6 months at home for me, and then it gave me a good foundation to kind of look at what I really wanted to do in the world and opportunities for football. So I had the opportunity to go up to Auckland, went up there. I was injured for 10 months, so actually the same injury that I've been dealing with for the first half of the year that I was here. Then after getting healthy, I went up to Wellington, to another city in New Zealand, and then after that, I spent a year at the Ole Football Academy, which is a very, very, very good institute with some incredible coaches and a guy called Benny Sipp, who's an American, played MLS and stuff, and fantastic coach, and he's one of my best mates now, which is pretty cool. He got in touch with an agent who was based over in Europe, and basically the agent said to him, he's like, have you got a centre-back? And this is the beginning of 2022. And so Benny called me straight away, and he's like, hey, mate, can you be in Finland in 6 days? I was like, 6 days? This is right in January as well. And so then I was like, let me have a chat with mum and dad. Let's see what we can do. So I got on the phone and mum and dad were like, Finland, it's a bit out of the blue. And I honestly didn't know anything about the country, didn't really know what to expect. But look, sometimes these opportunities come up and you just got to, say, yeah, why not, and give it your best shot. And if it was a chance to go play professional, semi-professional football, then I was like, yeah, why not? And what's the worst that can come out of it? So, yeah, when my mum and dad said happy birthday, luckily enough, it kind of fell at a similar time. They said happy birthday is a one-way ticket to Finland. And look, it wasn't a guaranteed thing either. Like I went over on trial, so yeah, one-way ticket over there without knowing if you're actually guaranteed a spot or without any security was probably, looking back, a wee bit stupid. But at the same time, I just gave it my best shot and was luckily enough to sign my first contract over there.
It's strange that you say that, because I guess when I was a little bit younger, I would have thought like that. Now I'm a little bit older, I would 100% say to a young person, go for it. Yeah. Because generally things work out. You take a leap, you don't land where you are, you generally find yourself a little bit of a safety net somewhere, you build again and you go again kind of style. It's really, really funny you said that. But I guess coming from a big sporty family, the support of your folks to whether they're going to say go or here's a bit of a push, yeah, that must have been fantastic as well to have that support.
So lucky to have the mum and dad I've got, honestly. So mum's background's actually in rugby, so she played rugby for New Zealand, international, and went to the first ever Women's World Cup and actually scored the first ever try at the first Women's World Cup. So there's There's a trivia question for you that you'll find at a pub quiz. Helen Stroud, for anyone listening, and then Dad was in football and played goalkeeper for the All Whites. So having a bit of high performance sport and that kind of you can say kick up the arse to just say, go give it a crack. And all they've ever said is just give it your best. Yeah. Like, just genuinely, and like you're saying, like, you go over to Finland, you go anywhere in the world, you get this opportunity. If you give it your best, as you said, you'll kind of fall on your feet, because like, if you fail, whatever that failure is or whatever you deem as that, it's a learning curve anyway. So like, I had a trial in America at a USL team, and basically the conversation that I got told afterwards when they said, no, we're not going to sign you, they're like, yes, you're a good player, but you weren't loud enough. I'm like, I'm not loud enough. And I was playing next to, I think he was French centre-back who didn't speak a lick of English, didn't say a word the whole time, and I was like, if you've seen me play, I'd yell a wee bit. Not as loud as Harley, but I'd yell a wee bit.
But that's his job too.
That is his job, and he's good at it too. So, I took that in my stride, and then obviously that lesson that I learned, I just took that over to my next experience in Finland and said, okay, be loud, be the loudest person on the pitch, and be me at the end of the day. And sometimes it works out, and football's a funny game. Takes one person to like you in one situation, and all of a sudden you've got a contract that can set up your career, or it can work the other way where that coach doesn't like you and then you're out of a job. So I was lucky to have that, and look, I had some experience that I've learnt from, and that's what I tried to take over here at the same time.
Finland, it's not the first country that springs to mind when you think about football. You think about skiing and snow sports and stuff like that. What was that whole experience like? Because I imagine it was very, very foreign for a Kiwi kid.
Yeah, it was bizarre. So I went from summertime in Christchurch, which isn't as luxurious as here. It was 28 degrees, and then I got off the train in Pori, Finland. It was minus 16. So, you can't feel your toes when you're trying to kick a ball around and stuff. But toughest part was the language. It was can't understand a word, wouldn't know the first thing about it. And then the whole trial period was completely in Finnish. I was the only international, so. As we kind of talked about with Ale and Dino as well, it's like football's a language, so you just kind of follow and you watch, you see, and then you copy, right? So I was lucky that I could do that, and that was the biggest thing. And honestly, it was very isolating in that country. It's they're very introverted people. So as an international speaking English, they don't want to make a mistake. So they're actually very good at English because they learn it in schools, but they are. they don't want to come out of their shell and make a mistake, so then they don't try. So then it's very hard to make friends and get into a group and things like that. But like after a bit of time, I was lucky to have some good lads on the team that like accepted me in and took me under their wing and kind of like showed me around, which was cool at the same time. So
And the club that you were at?
it's called FC Jazz.
FC Jazz?
FC Jazz.
As in J-A-Z-Z?
Yeah, J-A-Z-Z.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the meaning of that, or where did that come from?
That's a great question. I honestly
Yeah.
don't know too much history about the club, but it's in a wee West Coast city called Porry, which is, I don't know, there's 15,000 people, so it's pretty small. It was very isolating, to be honest. Like my second year there, I lived in an apartment that was 26 square meters, which is, I called it, I titled it Cussita Shoebox. It was one room with a bed, a tiny little kitchen, and then a bathroom, and that was it. Like, but look, it was a blessing at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I had my own space and whatnot, but it was a really, really tough time, and that's why at the end of the year I kind of made the decision to wrap things up over there. We had a great year. We got promoted. We finished second in the league and got automatic promotion to a new tier of the Finnish football. So that was great. Had some success, and just thank the club and thank the people there for trusting me.
Were there many other kind of foreigners there, or?
Yeah, so actually my first year I was lucky enough to play with two of my best mates from New Zealand.
Yeah.
So from the same academy, I went over and trialled first, and then a month later my best mate came over, and then 2 months later another mate came and joined us because I think I just say, the gaffer liked me and said, have you got anyone else you know? So then I was like, yeah, actually, my best mate. So that was pretty cool. Second year, they didn't come back to Finland. One of them got married, one of them decided to go be a builder, so they stopped playing. And then we had a lad from Nigeria, centre mid. He was a very good player. And then we had a Brazilian striker called Firmino as well. And
Of course he was.
Yeah, Firmino was 32 years old. We had a really young team at the time as well. I think I was next oldest, again at like 23. But he scored, I think, like 26 goals in both seasons, like back to back. He just bagged goals for fun. So it was just give the ball to Firmino and would score.
And the culture of the club, and I guess the fandom is something that's always intrigued me. What was it like? Because we know the Scandinavians can go pretty ballistic at the best of times.
Yeah, like this is funny. We had I think 3 ultras, they call them over there. We had 3, and legitimately like they'd travel to away games, and if we were winning, they'd set like one red flare, and there's like 3 guys just chanting with one drum.
That's so good.
It was honestly phenomenal.
Not that we condone flares or anything else like that, but I mean, I love that.
No, but it was like one of them had a FC Jazz tattoo on his hand after the season that we got promoted and things like that. Like it was pretty full on, but for a very small fan base, it was hilarious. But like that club was really cool because they had a really good junior setup, really good junior academy, and all the juniors would turn up to the games. Their family, their parents would love bringing them to the games and like letting them see them, like us playing, and it was like a real direct aspiration and inspiration for them, which was actually really cool to see. None of them spoke English, so I couldn't really interact with them, but it was all smiles, all cheers, no matter if we lost or won. They would just, it was really, really cool to see. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I guess, I mean, Finland, as I said, it's not the place that you first think about when you think about football, but I mean, what's the support like? I mean, the national team's not too bad. No, like they love it over there. Like they really do. Like they've got great setups over there in terms of their academies. Obviously, their weather is extreme, so wintertime is awful. I'm a summer boy myself, so I love it over here. But like, it is honestly so cold and so dark for such a long time of the year. So they actually build a lot of those indoor like turf and domes so they can play all year round, which is phenomenal.
Is it that whole extended summer kind of thing, like 12?
Yeah. So like
kind of 20 hours of light one part of the year, and then 20
100%.
hours of dark at the opposite part of the year.
I've just had midsummer celebrations, and I've talked to a few mates still and whatnot. But there's 24 hours of sunlight, and it's crazy. I didn't actually, in that 26 square apartment, I didn't have curtains or blinds. So I had to go out and like figure out how to buy them and whatnot myself. And
the old foil on the window.
I ended up just buying one of them sleep masks. So I was like, I'm just lazy. So I just do one of those. And yeah, it was great.
Mate, it sounds like a hell of an adventure. And then, of course, you found your way to little old Perth as well. And just while we're at it, mate, how's the injury coming along since you've been back out there? You've had a few solid hit-outs now.
Yeah, good. Like it's I'm finally back into a place where I think my fitness is coming back. Like we talked about just before with Grace, like your mind and your body's just not quite right with it. And I went through a bit of a process. Like first coming back, I was really frustrated because I can see things and I know that I'm good enough to do them, but just it wasn't happening for me. So I've had to be patient with myself and give myself a bit of cut myself a bit of slack, which has actually been tough because I'm quite strict on myself and try to set the highest standards possible. So, but now we're in a place where it's finally coming back. Fitness feels good. Running around in the midfield as well, which it's new for me, but I'm loving it, absolutely enjoying it, and just trying to do the best I can.
Benny, take just a bit of a breath there, mate, because we'll take a quick break and we'll come up on the other side and we'll take a look ahead to the weekend. We'll be right back after this here on the Perth Soccer Club podcast. Yeah, you're on the Perth SC Podcast. Blayne at Treadgold, Ben Stroud, just wrapping things up. Benny, as we look ahead to the weekend, a big one coming up against Inglewood for the NPL men's team. Inglewood, as much as where they sit on the ladder, a little bit of a danger game considering that they possibly are starting to get into a little bit of more form. Yeah,
I think they've had a win and a draw in their last two games, so they'll be taking some confidence, especially after a tough start to the season. So yeah, 100%, we've got to watch out, and we've got to, as we've been talking about, hit our strides. And honestly, we got to play the way that we do, and we've really got to put it together. And it's a good opportunity this weekend. Every weekend's a great opportunity to do it, but yeah, it's important.
And how are the guys feeling ahead? Have you had a conversation around heading into this one?
Yeah. It's actually good vibes, to be fair. There's good conversations going on between, not just as a team, but in between individuals as well, and just saying, how can we work together better? How can we actually really put this thing together? And we know and we understand the importance of this week and the weeks coming forward too. Yeah, looking forward to that one. 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, traditional time slot there. So Azuri fans, make sure you get out. Very, very local, just up the road there at Inglewood Stadium, so get along and support the boys. For the NPL women, well, that game's going to be a little bit earlier in the afternoon on the Saturday out there at the Sam Kerr Football Centre. How did you find playing out there, mate? It was nice, honestly. Yeah, it was really good. It was a wet night, so that the turf and the grass, the 50-50, is actually really, really nice to play on. So the ball zips, and yeah, it's tough. Like, it's tough on the legs because it's quite firm, but like moving the ball around, really, really good. And like, it's a stunning setup out there. Like, you walk through the building with the turf, the gym, the locker rooms. Yeah, it feels professional, so it's a good setup. Yeah, no, excellent, and hopefully, with such a pristine surface, the girls can pick up where they left off last week and play some good football. They're when they're hot, they're really hot, the girls at the moment. Yeah, goals, and that's as we've been talking about, it's that consistency, and the question is, can they do it again and then again and again? I'm sure Brogues is demanding that. I'm sure that they're going through and really, really demanding that during the sessions in the week, so it should be good to watch on Saturday. Yep, Perth Azuri women up against the NTC, 1 p.m. at the Sam Kerr Football Centre on Saturday afternoon. Benny, what else is happening, mate? What's happening at much else going on at the juniors or the 18s and the 20s this week? Yep, there's I know for the juniors, there's a bunch of cup games this weekend as well. Yep. So they've got the double header where they'll play Saturday and Sunday. Look, I think we've got some really, really good juniors in the club, and we've got some good things happening and behind the scenes with coaching and development at the same time, and some good plans going forward. So it's an exciting time in the junior space, honestly, at Perth Soccer Club. So yeah, look, good luck to all the juniors this weekend, and yeah, if you can, go out and support them too.
Yeah.
There's I know that there's an email list with the fixture lists out there. So yeah, check it out.
Yep, go and get behind the Azuri Juniors across this weekend. It might be a bit of a wet one, but there's plenty of hot coffee down there at Forest Park and the other locations across Perth as well. Benny, a couple of events. We know you love a quiz. There's a couple of quiz nights on the cards, so we're looking forward to seeing everyone get out to that. And also, we do have the... do you like your golf?
Oh, I love golf. Yeah, I love golf more than I love quizzes.
So we've got the Ambrose Golf Day coming up in September. So if there's any potential sponsors that want to jump on board and nominate a team, get out and do that, because I reckon it'll be a really fun day. I'm looking to try and see if I can find myself a team to hack a few into the bushes.
Rumour has it that there's a very good prize for a hole-in-one. Rumour has it, but check it out.
All right. Go check out the socials. Get in touch with the club. Do whatever you can to get involved. Benny, thank you very much, mate. And we'll wrap it up there. Big thank you to Grace Johnston. And we'll be back this time next week-ish to talk more about what's happening at the mighty Azuri Football Club. Come on, the Azuri.